S&P 500 is slightly higher, awaiting a possible ceasefire between Iran and US. And with the current, at least short-term bullish action, I want to look at some stocks that seem to be forming some short-term bases. So I'm going to look at price action, market timing, momentum, because I'm HEMA ready, and that's what I do. So I've got a list of tickers here, and I'll talk more about where I got these list of tickers. It's pretty cool, something I'm working on. But here we have SHG, okay? So this is a financial stock, and you can see that most recently it has been trying to form a base, so kind of like a rectangular square over the March 6th low, which was tested on March 31st. This was with the RSI Power Zones showing a disconnect between price and momentum that can have bullish indications. Here's the thing though, what we need to see is that this price action can continue over the March 20th high. That would tell me that, hey, there's actually legs to this move. And even if that occurs, the first nearby resistance is the 50% retracement of the decline from February 12th. So with any short-term recovery moves, when the broader market is still down, you want to make sure, A, you know the level above which, it's safer to act, and B, what's the closest resistance to that. You're not looking for it to match the number exactly. You just want to make sure you're not kind of treating it not serious and only looking back at the old highs. Okay, so that's the first one. Now let's look at another financial stock. This is SCHW, so Schwab, and it kind of has a similar story. Now, this stock has returned more to its November 2025 lows, but that actually to me is a good thing because that means it's coming back to a bigger base of support and still trying to recover higher. Now here, it has a little bit work ahead of it, and actually because of the way that the last week's candles formed on Wednesday and Thursday, okay, ahead of the holiday of Good Friday, now you can see that all it has to do is get above the April 1st high, and you could start a path higher. Similar story here. The 50% retracement is the first level of resistance that I'd want to watch, and if you do happen to be long or in a bullish position, that may be where you want to either tighten up your stops to protect your wins or even take off some profit. All right, next we have LTH. So LTH is Lifetime Group Holdings, and this is showing that there has been a base forming, but after a much longer term consolidation since May of last year. Still though, if it can kind of pop a little higher, I think there's room. And the thing is, on a low price stock like this, you're kind of looking for a percentage move. So for example, if we're at $2.70 would be 10% of the current $27 price, right? Then even a $3 move would be over 10%. So that's the approach that I would use when trading lower price stocks, because it's not about going from $27 to $50, right? It's just, hey, can I make 10% on my investment if I act according to what's showing here? Now, with this actual move, I would want to see a move above this high here from March 10th. And then, as you can see up ahead, it has resistance. So there's less room for the upside here, but it's still a very similar kind of chart to what we saw on SHG and SCHW. Next is ticker DOV, Dover Corp. Now, I like this one because when you look at the history of it, it seems to be at new all-time highs. You can always go up a time frame to double check. And yep, it came up to new all-time highs and recently backed off. So when we bring it back to the daily chart, the action that's unfolding now is a correction of a longer-term bullish advance from the October 14th low. And when you actually look at where the support is on that, you can see that we have not even retraced 50% of that move, right? In this case, it's support. So there's just the beginning hints that this stock may want to try to form a base. Now, just like with the others, I would want to see it clear some significant resistance and then maybe act on a pullback. But for those of you who have more what I would call aggressive entries, where you're just trying to, get in at the lowest price possible, even though a setup may not be fully telling you the trend has changed yet, this is something to keep an eye on. All right, last but not least is ACRE. Now, this is a very low priced security here. So this is one that has returned to its January 6th range. You can see that right here, okay? And it's just starting to test that support. And here, just like with the other stocks, you have to find, well, what's the resistance level that needs to be climbed above for this thing to actually show that it's turning? And that is the high from March 26th. So those are some stocks that are forming what I think are some bases worth watching. And again, I'll share more later about how I even came across them No, I didn't pull up the news. No, I didn't scan a list of thousands of stocks. I have something cool I'm building, but it's a little too early to reveal all the details behind it. So let's keep an eye and see if these actually follow through. If not, at least you got a good lesson on what to look for when a stock has been beaten down a little and is attempting to base. And if you found value in either the technical lesson or the stock picks or both, go ahead and hit that like button, and I'll catch you in our next video.